Hello, I'm Anthony. Just upgraded from Cubase 11 to Cubase 12, and this video is basically me chatting about that process, some of the stuff that I've discovered, and some of the terms that I'm starting to become a little bit more familiar with. The whole area of software management with Steinberg products is tricky. All of these various windows that you can see on screen are the suite of applications via which you manage your products. Well, there shouldn't really be a suite, there should only be one. But anyway, we are where we are. So I'm just going to have a bit of a chat today about the general management of Steinberg software. Now, the upgrade itself from 11 to 12 went really smoothly for me. I have to say I had no issues at all, so that was a great thing. Basically, went onto the site, bought the upgrade. That gave me a download access code, which I then used to install Cubase 12. And this term download access code is one of the things that we probably need to have a bit of a chat about because it is a murky subject. There are two different kinds of codes with Steinberg software. You've got download access codes and license activation codes. Now, previously, the reason for the two different types of codes was because the majority of your licenses, well, certainly in my case, were stored on a dongle. So here I have the eLicenser Control Center, one of the other applications that you'll have running on your computer, where licenses are stored on a physical USB dongle plugged into your PC, and they manage all of the licenses of all of the software. You can see down here, I've got all of the various, this is everything that I own, all the Steinberg products that I own. Or I should say, they're all Steinberg products that are licensed on the dongle, because conspicuous by its absence is Cubase 12. It's not in this list. With the release of Cubase 12, Steinberg are moving, finally, towards a dongle-free license management system. And therefore you're going to get this new piece of software called the Steinberg Activation Manager. And here you can see there's a single product activated on my machine, and here is where Cubase Pro 12 lives. So as far as I can tell, this now renders redundant for future products license activation codes. You won't need those anymore. Now, when I bought the upgrade, the email that I received gave me a download access code / activation code. So it looks like they've basically merged these two contents together. But this is where you manage your downloads in the Download Assistant. Paste your access code in here. It gives you access to Cubase 12. If you think of the access code as basically like a virtual voucher, it gives you the entitlement to both download the software and then activate a license that will entitle you to use that software. The reason why those two terms are murky is because the Download Assistant allows you to download, as far as I'm aware, all of the Steinberg software. For instance, I don't own any Nuendo products, but I could download Nuendo 11 from here. I don't know how far down the process I'd get, whether or not it would fully let me install the application. I suspect it would, but then it wouldn't run because I don't have a license activation. That's the difference between the two terms. Now, a really important point to mention about this dongle-free license, it's all very well and good Cubase Pro 12 running without a dongle, but if I unplug that dongle, everything else is going to stop working. So I wouldn't be able to use Groove Agent or Hallian or any of the stuff that you see in this list here. I will lose access to all of that. This is a process that Steinberg say it's going to take between 1 and 2 years to turn all of their software into dongle-free versions. So don't think that you can buy Cubase 12, unplug your dongle and throw it away. If you have anything other than the core Cubase 12 installation, and you can see I've got plenty of stuff here, I would lose it all. So it isn't dongle-free yet. It's beginning the process of migration towards dongle-free. Just one final point about the old system. Can you see where it says Cubase Pro 11 and then in brackets not upgradable? That doesn't mean you can't buy an upgrade. I bought an upgrade to version 12 and it worked perfectly well. It means that you can't upgrade the license in the License Control Center. The license is now managed elsewhere. So that's as far as the dongle version of the license is ever going to get. Okay, so you've entered your download access code and you've gone to My Product Downloads. You might expect to see all of the software that you own in this section. You won't. As far as I'm aware, you're only going to see the products that you explicitly pasted a download access code into Download Assistant and download the software that way. If you activate a license via any other mechanism, via the online website for instance, then it won't show up in Download Assistant. So this is a very partially implemented application. Lots and lots of issues with Download Assistant. It's really not very good, frankly, because you should be able to see all of your software here all in one place, and you can't. But here we see Cubase 12, and when you click on it, you see all of the stuff that you can install. Now, even though there are lots of things here that appear to be not installed, they actually are. This is another one of the issues with Download Assistant. It doesn't know what you've done in the past. So on this PC previously, I've installed the full versions of Cubase 11, Absolute 5, which includes Halion and Groove Agent, a ton of Groove Agent content sets. The Download Assistant basically has no idea that any of that's happened. And so it looks like this stuff needs to be installed, whereas it doesn't. Let's take an example. If we have a look at this Bloom content set, I'm just opening my external drive here where I have all my Cubase data stored in the Steinberg VST content. And if I search for Bloom, then I'm going to find it. There's the VST sound. It is installed. It just doesn't look like it is. There's no harm in reinstalling it. It'll work. But once again, the Download Assistant gives you a very incomplete view of your installation history. Now we need to talk about folders, where stuff gets located. There are two different folders. There's your download folder, and you can see here, target folder, Steinberg VST content /downloads. So that's where the content's going to get downloaded to by the Download Assistant. Once it's there, you then have an installation folder. That's managed in yet another application. This is your library manager. So there are two different default locations you want to set up. In your Download Assistant, you're going to set your target folder to wherever you store your data /downloads. In the library manager, you want to set your library default location. This is the place where the actual data is going to be stored and read by Cubase. So this is the be all and end all folder. And you can see here that I've got it set to X Steinberg VST content. So by setting those two paths, I'm now in complete control of all of the content for all of the Steinberg products, Cubase and all of its satellite applications. I've also opened one of these details windows in the library manager, and you can just verify that the preset folders all start with X Steinberg VST content. Obviously, you'll set that to whatever your local drive is, and then the name of the file itself where the VST sound is stored. This is a bit of an interface bug here. Can you see Steinberg VST content has no spaces? It looks like it's the wrong path. But if I hover over it with IntelliSense, you can see that it actually is the right path. So it is in the right place. It's just not being represented properly. It looks like it's squashed everything together. So if you want to make sure that all of your folders are installed in the right place, just open all of these details and make absolutely sure that you don't have anything pointing to a spurious folder that doesn't contain the data as it's supposed to. One of the other issues that you have with Download Assistant is that there are multiple ways by which to view the same product. So we've already seen in my product downloads, it doesn't show you everything you actually own. Now I bought Absolute 5, which contains all the synth stuff, Groove Agent, Halion, Padshop, etc. But there isn't an Absolute folder. You have to go into VST Instruments to find it. And when you select Absolute 5, it shows you all of the content that you're entitled to download in that package. Some of it is Groove Agent products. So here we see Future Past Perfect is 89.92 meg in the Absolute collection, but I would be able to find that as well if I opened the Groove Agent and scrolled down Future Past Perfect. There it is. And you can see there are different versions for both Groove Agent 4 and 5. So this is an entirely manual process. You have to know what you own. You have to know where it is in the Download Assistant. You have to download the right version, and you have to make sure that all of your paths are pointing to the right location in order for everything to work. Now, if you're really careful and you do all of those things step by step, it does work. The system is actually very stable and functional. It's just that it's an almost entirely manual process, and you have really got to know what you're doing. With some software vendors like Arturia or Native Instruments, they'll give you a single license application that you'll run, and it will take care of everything. All of your downloads, all of your updates, all of your license management, all from a single interface, a big happy install all or update all button at the top. And it basically just gives you a big cuddle and takes care of it all for you. That is not the case here. You've got to do it all manually. And now, while we've got this process of transition from the old dongle-based licenses to the new software, you're going to have to be aware that you've got these two separate applications to manage as well, two separate license management applications. Hopefully, once they've made the full transition to Activation Manager, they can devote some resources to fixing this download assistant. They could maybe rename it to License Manager and take care of all of the downloading and licensing integrally. I've seen people on the Cubase forums or on the Steinberg forums defending the download assistant because it's called a download assistant, and all it does is help you to download software, and taking care of the management and administration of it is over to you. That just seems like a crazy argument. In this day and age, with other vendors doing it so well from a single point of contact, there's no reason why we should need all of these different applications to manage our software. Last thing I wanted to talk about today was presets. So in the on a PC, in your app data roaming Steinberg folder, you're going to find all of your presets, and you can see that for every version of Cubase you get a separate presets folder. Now when I installed Cubase 12 yesterday, I opened Windows Explorer and had a look in this folder, and there was no Cubase 12 folder there at all. And I presumed that the installation hadn't carried all of my presets across. So what I did was I copied Cubase 11_64, pasted it into this folder and renamed it to Cubase 12, ran the application, and sure enough, it found all of my presets and carried on running as if I hadn't just installed a new version of the software. It subsequently turned out I didn't need to do that, because this morning I tried deleting the Cubase 12 folder, just got rid of it completely, ran Cubase 12 without any presets being there, and then it said something along the lines of importing presets from previous version, and it took care of all of it for me. Now that hasn't always been the case. I've done upgrades in the past where it hasn't brought all of my presets along. You open the software and it's like you've just installed it brand new on a virgin machine and you've lost all of your presets. And then you'd need to be relying on the profile manager to drag everything else back. Well, it looks like the upgrade from 11 to 12 was very seamless. This version 12 folder that you see here was generated completely dynamically by just running Cubase 12 for the first time, and all of the stuff is there exactly as is. And here it is, and this is exactly as it appeared before I installed version 12. Apart from the fact that we've now got a blue icon instead of a red icon, it is Cubase 12 that's running, but again, a completely seamless process. So they're definitely making strides in the right direction. This has been much more difficult in the past, and it looks like we're getting there. Okay, I hope some of that's been of use to you. If it was, please hit the like button. Thanks very much for watching.